All right, guys, let's take a look at the new Seiko Tuna, the sbbn043. This is the blue one. There is a black one out there as well. I picked this up from Lume, paid full price. I have no affiliation with Lume. It just happens to be where this watch and this watch was purchased. So this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than normal because I'm going to talk about this watch on its own, and then we're going to do a comparison with the previous generation, if you can even really call it that. It's kind of just a refresh. It's not like a total model change. So let's get into the size real quick. At its widest point, which is the flare of the shroud here, I measure 47.5 millimeter. The lug to lug, which is almost a lugless design really, but they are little lugs sticking out. Those are 44.5 millimeter. They are drilled. The thickness on this one, 13.8 thick, 22 millimeter lug width, and a 7 millimeter crown. Still using the 7C46 movement, which I believe is the movement they've used since the Tuna's debut in 1975. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the movement they created for the quartz Tuna and only the quartz Tuna. So that movement hasn't been placed in any other watch. It's a 7-jewel, high torque, very well done, long life, quartz movement, meaning that it's serviceable, and even its service intervals are like super far out. I want to say 50 years or something like that. Crazy. It's a phenomenal movement. Battery life on it, you're going to have to change the battery. I forget what the battery intervals are, but they are marked on the case back here. That's what this marking here is for. So, and maybe we can go over that in another video. So, the elephant in the room, the handset and sapphire crystal are the two big things that you're going to notice that have changed from the previous one. There are a bunch of other things, but I think those are the two main things, is the sapphire crystal and the handset. Now the handset, for all the people that didn't really care for this handset and they preferred more of the OG, the original handset, now you're going back to that. I'm sure it's not 100%, but it's definitely more in line with the original handset from the Seiko Tuna lineup. And at first, I got to be honest with you, I really liked the handset from this generation, the Marine Master 031. And after studying the watch a little bit more and seeing pictures, one of my founders, Park and NJ, New Jersey, Park and New Jersey that's his username on my Discord chat. He picked one up a little while ago before I picked mine up and posted up real pictures of it. And the beauty of it was easily captured in his pictures. So this model is way easier to photograph than the previous one because of the crystal. I instantly, as soon as he posted those pictures, I went and ordered one up. That's how good it looked in the pictures, like real world pictures, not the pictures you see on the websites. It's really that good. So spoiler alert, I actually prefer this model over the previous one in its current configuration, and it's just a home run for sure. I mean, the Tuna really didn't need anything upgraded in my opinion, but the fact that they did and they were actually able to improve it says a lot. And it's really one of the only Seikos that I'll even buy. Like, you guys that watch my channel regularly, when's the last time I've actually bought a Seiko? It's been a while, right? Well, I did buy this one, and I actually bought this one. So that should say something. These are the Seikos that I'll actually buy. The quality control seems to be much better. Now, I did find a flaw with this one, and I'll try to show it. Maybe I'll drop a picture at the end. But it's not a deal breaker for me like some of the flaws that I've noticed on some almost equally as expensive as this one, because this one's $1,450 from Lume. It's a little bit less for the black version. I think that one's $1,390, and then they're sold out of this one. So the inventory of the sbbn031s I'm sure will deplete because I don't think they're going to make these anymore. But Lume was selling this one for $1,158. I'm not sure what they're going for on other sites, guys. I'm just talking Lume. That's the only source that I looked up real quick. There's tons of other sellers of these watches. So with this one, when I looked at it a little bit closer, it does look like it has applied indices instead of these are printed on. And it's pretty obvious these are printed on. I never really had a problem with that. The glow on these Tunas are amazing. So this one looks like it's printed on. Maybe it's pressed from the bottom side of the dial. I'm not going to take it apart to find out, but they look clean and crisp like they're applied. I could be wrong. And then if you can look closely, you'll see that they look like they're applied, and then it almost looks like hand applied amounts of Lume on those. It's hard to tell. Maybe it's done by machine. I don't know. And then let's see. So you have the triangle at the 12. You have two smaller Lume plots, and then you have an interrupted Lume plot. It's nice that they put it there at the date position at 3. Then two smaller, and then if you look, slight oversize of the 6 and 9 indices over the rest of them. So a little bit different Lume plots, which kind of harkens back again to the older models where there was different size. So this dial configuration, although new and clean and fresh, it's much more similar to how the original Tunas were done. Whereas if you look at this guy, yeah, they're different, but they're not round. They're, you know, some sort of different shape. So subtle differences all over on this one. Obviously, Marine Master has been removed from the dial, and you have the Prospex X on there, and then Professional 300. This new dial layout, to me, just screams new and fresh and clean. It has a flat sapphire crystal. And I know you're looking at it, you're like, what? It looks like it's domed. It is domed, but it's single domed on the underside with AR coating. It's flat on the top. So that's the first time I've actually handled a watch, I think, with that setup. So I'm kind of digging it. I mean, I would have been fine with a completely flat sapphire, and I'm not sure, maybe you guys can chime off in the comments why they would do a domed sapphire. Maybe it's something to do with how you can see the dial underwater, I'm guessing. So if I'm onto something there, let me know in the comments. Now you can see the gloss blue bezel insert on this one. The only Lume, unfortunately, it would have been kind of cool if some of it would have been lumed, but you have the Lume pip and the rest of it's just white filled. Now, I was talking to Bruce about this. Neither one of us can find hard evidence if this is actually a ceramic bezel insert. So I'm going to lean toward the fact that they didn't brag that it would be ceramic, that it's not ceramic. Seiko's known for doing bezel inserts that are like their own proprietary type enamel type coating, and I suspect that's what's done here. I suspect that's what's done on this one, and they've done it on other higher end watches. So I kind of believe it's more of the same here. I don't think this is ceramic, but if somebody can show me hard evidence that that's ceramic, let me know, and then I'll make another video sharing that, but I suspect it's not. You can see the seconds hand hits the marks. You know, if it looks like it's not hitting the marks, it's just the angle, guys. It hits the marks dead on. So you can see excellent brushing on this, very clean. All the polishing is left to the underside. There's maybe some polished reliefs in the bezel here where your grip is. Other than that, it's all brushed. Bezel action, 120 click. This one moves very easy, way more easy than you would see on most Seiko watches. Now, the previous generation one, this one here, is kind of what you would typically, you know, recognize from most Seiko watches. It has some resistance and it's 120 click. Again, I don't know if that's just luck of the draw, you know, because usually that resistance is dictated by the bezel gasket inside. The friction on the rubber gasket to the case material is how that's usually determined. So I don't really care because it's so well shielded and shrouded that the chances of you bumping that are pretty low. Crown. The crown is actually a big difference, and I didn't really pick up on it in the beginning. It's a true 7mm crown, whereas the previous generation was actually just under 7mm. And there's less, if you look, there's less. I mean, this one just seems like more of an off-the-shelf part, and it's more polished. There's way more grip on this new one. And then I liked the machine end cap. I honestly like that look. It matches the shroud a lot better versus like a polished and signed crown like this. This just seems normal Seiko-ish, whereas this one seems like there's some, you know, more machining or craftsmanship or something. I personally just like it more. But everyone's preference is going to be different. I love the viewing angles of this and how little light refraction you get off it, because with the light on this one, it's always been, I mean, you can see me, you can see my camera, you can see the lights and everything. You don't get hardly any of that on this one. This one's going to show up more like most watches I show on here, where you get, yeah, you get the reflection, but it's a smooth, consistent reflection across the whole watch instead of just redirecting light in all different ways. So I really prefer this one. It's easier to read, it's more legible, and it's clean. Now, I will say I still hate the metal keepers. I like the strap. The strap is fine. I would prefer a metal bracelet, and I probably will order a strap code. Which one do I use? I forget. The Hexed one that tapers. I do have a Jubilee with the straight bars. This one will fit on there, and this will be kind of nice, but a little too flashy. I like the Hexed one with this one best. You could go with this style one, but this is a non-tapering. And when you go with a 22mm lug width, I like a taper on it. I like a lot of taper actually on my bracelets. This is the Oris titanium aquas that I was wearing. So let's put this on wrist. Now I'll do the Lume shot at the end. I did a little pre-test with the Lume. I still kind of feel that the older one is a little bit brighter. Maybe it has something to do with the applied indices versus the printed on. I don't know. We'll test it here together. But on wrist, man, this thing just looks nicer, cleaner, crisper, more premium. I know it's a new watch, but so was this one, really. I just like new, fresh designs, and I think Seiko nailed it with this one, 100%. There it is on my 7¼ inch wrist, and I'm excited to own this one for a little while. I'm going to send both these over to Bruce soon, because this guy here is actually going to get a sapphire crystal install, and then this watch is going to be given away to my founders group now that we've hit, well, we will have hit 100 by then when I give it away. This one here, I actually intend to keep for a little while. I don't know how long or what I'm going to do with it, but I don't have a lot of Seikos in my collection. I have my Monster, I have the SKX, and I think it's appropriate to have a new quartz Tuna. It just really fits in with what I actually wear and what I like to wear and own. So I'll probably keep it. I'll probably get that Hexed strap code bracelet, and I'll let you know what that looks like. Let's kill the lights. I know we went plenty long on this one already. And let's see a couple of beasts in the industry as far as Lume. Okay, so when I was talking earlier about the Lume, the first time I tested it, I think I hadn't exposed the new Tuna to the lamps as long as the sbbn031 had been. They're equal. I think they're equal, and then to the naked eye, and maybe you're picking this up, maybe not, but I think the sbbn043, the new Tuna, I think the green is a little bit lighter in its tone, so it almost looks a little bit brighter because of that, whereas the older Tuna with the printed on Lume looks more green. The new one looks a little bit lighter, more vibrant green, if that makes sense. So it almost visually to the naked eye looks a little bit stronger, but I think it's just the tone. They're equal as far as how bright they are. It just looks it because of the tone of the green, if that makes sense. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next vid.